Don't you just hate it when you're trying to pull off your classic Christmas robbery and this 8-year-old kid called Kevin McAllister just keeps getting in the way? Well, that's not a problem anymore, where we at Wet Bandits Academy teach you how to cope with all the traumatic physical and emotional damage you will receive with dealing with this kid. So today we're going to go through all the traps in Home Alone 1, essentially on how stupid they are. Just to make this crystal clear, I do not endorse robbery or any crimes of any nature. That was just a little skit joke, and now let's just go back to normal. But just in case you haven't seen Home Alone, this is Kevin. His whole family doesn't treat him very well. They go on a family holiday to Europe, leaving him all alone as an 8-year-old at home. There are these two guys called the Wet Bandits who are trying to break into his home, and they're not the brightest. I will say they're not the brightest bandits, and Kevin McAllister seems to have a lot of pent-up anger, and he seems to like really use this as an opportunity to unleash pain onto these bandits because he's got to protect his house. So let's go through all these traps and see how silly they are. So trap number 1. Now correct me if I'm wrong, I'm no robber, but my ideal situation if I'm robbing a house is that no one is at home, and if I know they're at home, I would leave. These robbers rob this house knowing that Kevin McAllister is in there, and they start taunting him. Kevin then shoots one of them in the leg with not a real bullet, and then the second one decides, hey, this is a great invitation, a really solid idea for me to put my head through where my friend just got shot, because surely that's safe and smart. What do you think's gonna happen? He's a bit of an idiot, and I'm just gonna say, who would fall for this rookie mistake as a robber? Why are you doing this? So the next trap we're going to talk about is when they're trying to get into the house. Now I would say I would fall for this, even though I would be aware that there's ice on the steps and I need to be cautious. I would not be preparing for the slipperiness of Kevin McAllister having poured hot water on it to make it all melty and slippery, and then he falls. I feel like that I would totally fall for it. Next we have the door handle, which is burning red. Now I think we all received basic education that taught us in an event of a fire, test the door handles, see if they're hot by the back of your palm, and if it is, like, don't go through that door because that means there's fire. But this door handle is literally blazing red and he thinks nothing of it. He's like, oh yes, I will touch it. Surely this isn't a bad thing. It's like a moth to a flame. Like, stupid. I'm sorry. Who would fall for this? The Wet Bandits are really doing a poor job at their job of robbing a house. So the next trap we're going to talk about is a little bit painful. I mean, I'm no robber, but I'm assuming going through a window is a good entry place for some robbers, and of course we have Marv going through the window, which you would think, okay, I need to be cautious, I need to be quiet, I need to be watchful of where I step. But no. Marv goes, I don't need to watch where I'm stepping, I'm just gonna go for it and step wherever I gosh damn like. And bam! Clever Kevin McAllister has placed Christmas decorations on the window and he steps on it. Like, I'm gonna say it's not too clever because I can... no. Who would fall for this? You should have looked. You should have looked, bro. Bad robbery skills of you. It would have hurt. It's also ouch, but not clever at all. Next, I'm pretty sure this would cause a severe concussion of some sort. If you're in a house robbing it, why would you think to turn the light on so everyone can see you're robbing it? Again, stupid. But Marv, of course, pulls the little light and Kevin McAllister has done his magic and that causes an iron to fall down and smack him in the face. I think that would knock him out at that height and swing. I gotta tell you, if these robbers were like video game characters, their defense is like high. I would say not too clever because I understand it would be an instinctual thing just to see a light and pull it, but as a robber, you should be like, no, I shouldn't do this. Bad decision. Next up, we have another Marv one, which would freaking hurt. So he visibly sees there's gunk on the footsteps. So he decides to take off one shoe at a time, one sock at a time, and being aware that the kid has put a trap on these steps, wouldn't you be very cautious again to where you're stepping? But no, he's like, I don't need to look where I'm stepping, and steps on a nail. I feel like these guys are just terrible. Like, come on. It's not too clever. I understand being distracted by the group and thinking that was the only distraction, so very clever of Kevin. But stupid of you as an adult who's trying to rob someone. Like, this one, which probably would have seared his face off in reality. I'm going to say God tier, because I actually don't think I would have absolutely never guessed that this would be something that an 8-year-old kid would be capable of. And it's at this point where I'm like, okay, this is just Kevin McAllister doing a good job at protecting his home. I wouldn't be smart enough to set up half of these tricks in like a few hours. I mean, watching this, I still wouldn't know how to do it. Like the technicalities of tying this up and making sure that when the door opens, it goes like this. And in the process of testing it, I would have hurt myself anyway. So Kevin McAllister is a bit psychotic, but a very brave, smart kid in defending his house. Next we have the cars. I'm gonna say not too clever, simply because it's in plain sight. It's like one of those things that movies do a lot where the person doesn't recognize there's someone behind them when it's so obvious that if you were in that circumstance you would. They clearly should have seen that there were cars on the floor and just stepped around it. I don't think they were that distracted to not be aware. I think they're kind of stupid and yeah, just not too clever of them. And then going into the next trap, this would definitely have like caused brain damage, some sort of concussion. Like this is deadly, this trap. So I would just say ouch, like this is going to hurt you and cause you severe harm. First off, imagine having to set this up. Like I wouldn't even know where to find ropes in my house like that. We don't have paint cans. Like this kid was prepared. He thought of every single thing. He's very creative minded. I sure hope his school teachers were giving him a creative report in his school endeavors because he's got ideas. Yeah, it's ouch, but they're also silly for falling for it. Next, so Kevin of course is continuing to torment them and adding to their trauma, which I kind of feel like they deserve if you're trying to rob a house and terrify a child. I mean, look, I'm not endorsing crime, but in the fictional world of Home Alone, these robbers are deserving what they're getting. And so Kevin sets up a trap where he's kind of distracting them and they run past a rope and they fall. You know what, I'd fall for that. I feel like I probably wouldn't notice a tiny little rope while I'm chasing someone. I can very much see myself falling for that, so I'm gonna put it there. Oh, next, I feel like this is less of a trap than just an unfortunate situation. So the two of them have kind of fallen and Kevin McAllister puts the spider onto his face and he's obviously freaking out, as probably most people would. But the idiotic thing is then how they try to get the spider off. Because, again, common sense. Where is it? It's gone. These two have none. And I'm gonna say it's not too clever, but also ouch, because being smacked in the face and in the ribs by like would hurt a lot. Their own damn fault. Don't rob houses, people. So the next trap we have is this one. So Kevin McAllister swoops across the rope and I think it's so funny because when you rewatch the scene, you can clearly tell it's like a stunt person pretending to be Kevin McAllister, and I just think it looks so obviously it's not him, and I just find that very funny. Again, like, they're just not clever. They're just not. This child has taunted you for days and has caused you severe injury, and your inclination is to still chase him when he wants you to chase him. I don't understand what they were thinking. They're just very poor robbers. And why don't they wear gloves? Why don't they wear masks? Why don't they try to hide their identity? They're just doing a poor job, I tell ya. Okay, and the lucky last one, I'm just gonna say not too clever. Again, Kevin McAllister is taunting them, come follow me, you can't get me. And they're like, oh, okay, I'll show you. As if you think nothing's gonna happen after literally being injured time after time after time. You are stupid. And he opens the door and runs into something sticky, and then he takes stuff from the fan goes and gets all chicken feathers or feathers on his face. Like, that's more just a humiliation thing. Like, here's a chicken, haha, funny. But you're not clever. Wet bandits, I really don't feel like this is the job, the industry, the field for you. I feel like you might have more luck in other endeavors, definitely not in the home security realm. I will say the one clever thing that they do in the film is where at the beginning where they go to the houses as policemen and just checking in and making sure that everyone has the security on, like making sure you're staying safe because people are being robbed. I feel like that's the one clever thing they do in this film to get some knowledge for the houses they're gonna rob. Like, that's the only thing where I'm like, okay, you're robbing well. Everything everything else, I'm like, you're just so like, you're so off base. I really just want to get a shirt that has Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. One day I will, and one day that is when I know I've peaked and my life is complete. So until then, please consider subscribing, liking, commenting. This channel is all about Christmas because I like to talk about Christmas and watch all the films that come out every year. So if you like that, subscribe, and until next time, bye.